Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Jessup Career Panel. This is a time when you can speak with several White & Case lawyers about their Jessup experience and how it shaped their careers and what they do at the firm. My name is Elizabeth Black, and I'm the Director of Responsible Business at White & Case. On behalf of the firm, I'd like to commend you for participating in the Jessup competition this year, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm happy that so many Jessup competitors are joining today. For registration, we had 162 students from 53 countries. Before coming to White & Case, I was actually the executive director of the International Law Students Association. This just means that I've been involved with the Jessup for many more years than I care to admit at this point. But the Jessup actually brought me to White & Case. I was first hired by the firm to manage and coordinate the firm's Jessup activities around the world. So you can imagine my delight, first, that a firm like White & Case would have so many Jessup activities that needed managing, and second, that I was the one lucky enough to manage them. My job at the firm has expanded a great deal since then, but the Jessup competition remains a project that's near and dear to my heart. This year marks the 18th year of our global partnership of the Jessup competition. More than 150 of our lawyers and staff around our network support the Jessup in different ways. So grading memorials, judging oral rounds, administering competitions, and even bringing the Jessup problem to life through the graphics that you see on social media and in the posters. This year, we sponsored 21 national and regional competitions, more than ever before. So from the UK to Japan, Poland to Brazil, and many, many places in between. This is made possible by the many Jessup alumni that we have in nearly all of our offices around the world. And I'm pleased today to be joined by a few of our wonderful lawyers who are also Jessup alumni, and they're here to talk to you about their careers and the role that Jessup played. But before I turn it over to them, I wanted to explain a little bit about how this event will work. So each one of our lawyers will speak for a few minutes, and then once that's concluded, we'll all go to different breakout rooms because we want to make it easier to talk to each of you. We have other White & Case lawyers who are also Jessup alumni. They're going to be joining the breakout rooms as well. So you'll see the breakout room options at the bottom right of your screen. And we really want to hear from you. So ask questions, please, and move around from room to room so you can ask questions to the different lawyers that are in the breakout rooms. You can do that by sending a message in the chat or raising a virtual hand. Then at 5 minutes to the hour, we're all going to be moved back to the main room again for closing remarks. So with that, I will turn it over to Dipen to start us off.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining in the world. My name is Dipen Sabharwal. I'm a partner here at White & Case and a member of the firm's Global Executive Committee. I participated in the Jessup in 1999, about 26 years ago, which I guess makes me the oldest, most veteran of all the participants on today's call. But the Jessup, even though it took place about 26 years ago in my life, was a formative, a definitive legal experience in terms of shaping my career. Because of the Jessup, I was introduced to the wonderful world of international law. It also convinced me that my passion lay in advocacy, and it really forged my path into the world of international arbitration, which I've been practicing for over 2 decades here at White & Case. I represented India at the Jessup and was part of the first Indian team to win the Jessup World Rounds at the age of 20. And I often joke that my legal career peaked at that age, because in a way that I've done many other things since then. I think for many people who know me from those days, that's what they most remember me for. And I think in a way that's a testimony to the profound impact that Jessup has on people's careers, the passion that it brings about, and the fact that participants many, many years after they've actually participated in the moot continue to be associated as judges, as participants, as coaches, and in so many other forms. So I'm very happy to answer any questions in the breakout sessions, but I will now hand over to my partner, Kirsten Odynski.
Thank you, Dipen. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It is a real pleasure to be with you all. I'd like to echo the congratulations for having participated in the Jessup this year. I did the Jessup 18 years ago, so coincidentally coinciding with the start of the White & Case sponsorship. And like Elizabeth, it was through the Jessup that I found White & Case and indeed a career in international law. I competed on behalf of the University of Ottawa in Canada, and since then have become a partner in White & Case's international arbitration group. And I've lived in New York, Paris, and today I'm speaking to you from Houston. So it's sparked for me a real international career. Like Dipen was saying, the Jessup remains a highlight of my career, and it actually remains an important part of my career to this day. And that's really for three reasons, I think, when I think back on it. The first is it was the best training, best on-the-job training I've gotten in law school. It really replicates exactly what I do in my practice on a lot of days, and so that was really great. It was a lot of fun, and like Dipen, inspired me to have a career in advocacy and where you could argue, and so that was great. And then the third thing is it introduced me to things I'd never even thought about when I was in law school. I hadn't really thought about working in a country other than Canada. I hadn't thought about a career in international law. And so I met all of these wonderful people doing that. And to put it simply, it just really inspired me to think big, about what I could do with a career in law and where it could take me. So today I'd just like to encourage you all to think big, to really stay in touch with the people you've met through the Jessup, to get to know more about them and their careers, and just really think about, just how far your participation in the Jessup and your legal career can take you. And so with that, I'll pass it on to Samara.
Thanks, Kirsten. Hi, I am an associate in the International Arbitration team here in Singapore. And most of my work has been in commercial arbitration. So first I'll speak a little bit to my practice. At the moment, I'm working on a construction dispute and a gas price review dispute, but no one day is the same. And on this, I really echo Kirsten's comments that the Jessup was a great experience into what life is like in practice. The other week, a question that I had in my Jessup problem when I was a participant actually came up in practice. And so that was a nice moment for me there. But as you can tell from my accent, I'm Australian, and I represented Australia in the 2018 Jessup. And my team and we won the World Championship. But I don't want to be corny, but I genuinely think that everyone who participates in Jessup is a winner. With the benefit of retrospect, I'd go so far as to say that a law degree without the Jessup is incomplete. And this is for two reasons that I wish to speak to. First, the connections you make, and second, the confidence you gain in public speaking. So to the connections you make. And this is both in your teams and then with other teams. It's such a formidable experience to work in an intense period of time with your colleagues. And in many ways, indeed, that replicates real life practice. And I get a real passion and energy from working in a team, and Jessup is just that. So it's incredible to have colleagues that you have worked with the past 6 to 8 months. And I encourage you to keep in contact. Indeed, my team and I were in contact yesterday, reflecting where we were a few years ago and how excited we were for those who are representing my law school. And then also the other teams who supported us. I think when I look back on the grand final, yes, it was a great experience, but if you look at the photos, we have all the teams that we versed against. They were behind us, supporting us. So we had Team Mexico handing us sweets, Team Germany giving us good luck charms. And I think that is what speaks to the Jessup experience. It's that Jessup spirit of people who are really passionate. So I encourage you to connect with the connections you've made in the past week. I've heard colleagues refer to the Jessup as the Olympics for law, and I truly believe this is the case. And then second, the confidence you gain in public speaking. So even if you don't choose a litigious path, the confidence that you've gained from all the countless practice moots that you've done for the Jessup is going to put you in such a good position. So for instance, I've spoken at various conferences in the Asia Pacific region, and the ability to stand up and speak to a large audience is a skill set that I think can't be understated. And so just to close, I wish to also say that what makes Jessup is so special as a community. So even if you're no longer a participant after this year, please give back in any way. This can look like joining as a coach or a judge next year. And with that, I hand over to Aleksandra.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Aleksandra Oziemska. I'm a partner, a litigation partner at the White & Case Warsaw office. And I think I can place myself right after Dipen because it's been 20 years. I did the first ever Polish Jessup, and we didn't really know much about it, and we didn't really know sort of how it works. But fortunately, the other teams knew even less, and we won the national rounds and went to the US, and that's really when we started building all the friendships. I'm still in touch, just as Samara mentioned with her team, I'm in touch with mine. I recently visited one of my team members in Qatar, where he's a partner in a law firm. His 3 kids, my 2 kids, and suddenly we were talking about Jessup. I have another friend in Italy, and went to his wedding a few years ago. So it really lasts. It's something that the Jessup connection is really something you build for life. And again, here I am. When we meet with Elizabeth, Jessup is always something we talk about. And you also end up building a network wherever you go. If it turns out there are people who did Jessup, they're immediately your friends, which is a great value. And then also, I mean, having done the Jessup, I became the judge in the Polish national rounds, and I was also a remote coach this year. So it's an experience that also grows with you. Sort of as you progress in your career, there are different ways in which you can sort of give back to the Jessup. And I also take from the Jessup, one of my newly hired associates is a Jessup participant who I met, well, probably 10 years ago when he competed. We offered him a job back then. He didn't take it. But then several years have passed. He reconsidered, and we have one more member of the Jessup family at the firm. And generally, when recruiting, when we know that the person we're speaking to is a Jessup participant, we already know upfront that it's someone who works hard, someone who likes all things international, someone who speaks great English, and someone who had the courage to actually compete in the Jessup, do the work, speak in public, and someone who I think has already great basis to be a good lawyer. So I think this year's Jessup is a great opportunity for all of you, an important step in your careers and also in your lives, because I'm sure that you will build connections and you will get to know people with whom you will be in touch for the rest of your careers, the rest of your lives, probably. So thank you. And with that, I pass it over to Ron.
Thank you, Aleksandra. My name is Ron Kendler. I'm a counsel at White & Case in the International Trade Group. I started at our office in Geneva, Switzerland, just after graduating from law school, in which I competed in the Jessup during my 3rd year. That was 13 years ago. And for the last 12 years, I've been a very active judge and friend of the Jessup. I started in Geneva, and then a few years later made my way over to Washington, D.C. I'm going to round things out. There's a couple things I'd like to say. Unfortunately, some of it will be repetitive, but I'll try to strike unique notes among my colleagues at White & Case. So the first thing, I think is important here is that Jessup makes us all conversant in the language of international law. And when you get the good fortune and honor of working in that field, you get to see at times the issues and the law that we advocate in the Jessup come up in a professional context. I'll never forget working on a trade dispute as a first-year associate and evoking different articles of the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties, and having that spark in my mind great memories from just the year before. But the second point is that even if you don't work in international law, the skills that you develop in the Jessup are applicable across the board. We've heard a great deal about the importance of oral argument, oral presentation, the ability to present ideas clearly. That matters no matter where you are in the world or in what practice area. And one element in my practice that it's come relevant to is that I practice before all variety of administrative agencies in the United States, initial and appeal level federal courts, and then international tribunals. And each one of those is a little bit different in terms of the types of arguments they're receptive to and the nature of argument that they accept in a rhetorical sense. And the Jessup has been invaluable in knowing how to cater specific arguments and specific approaches to specific judges. The next point I make, of course, is the same one I've heard here throughout the morning, is that you make friends for life in the Jessup, not just in your own team, but around the world. And when I was in Geneva, for example, I had friends who would move to Geneva for studying or professional pursuits who I had known from years before at the Jessup. It truly creates an international network. One additional point I'll make that's interesting as someone who's been involved with the Jessup for as long as I have been is that this year, one of the issues and the problem was one of the same issues I dealt with as a student, which was the legitimacy of a government to represent a state. But it's been long enough that the relevant law and rules have changed, which led to some passionate responses from me in some rounds, if some of you may have had me as a judge. The last point I'll just make, again, echoing some of my colleagues here, is that it is so important to stay involved with the Jessup. If you have even just been in the national rounds or you've been able to attend the international rounds, you will have gotten an appreciation for how this truly is an international community, but it's one that rises or falls on the basis of the support of all of us. Without those of us who participated in and or support the Jessup, there would be no Jessup. So if there's one thing you can take away from this session, it is that I and we implore you to please stay involved, support the competition. If you have the ability to compete again, compete again. If not, as a future legal professional, come back, coach, judge, do whatever you can to spread the good word of Jessup so that in the years to come, it can continue to be as inspiring and as strong an event as it has been for all of us. With that, I'll turn it back to Elizabeth. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Ron, and thank you to all of our lawyers. As you can see, everyone is very passionate about the Jessup and has been involved for many, many years. So, so now it's time to turn it over to the breakout rooms for a Q&A session. So please turn on your cameras. We want this to really be a conversation, and I encourage you to ask a lot of questions because we want you to get the most out of this session. So you will see the breakout rooms at the bottom right of your screen. And again, if you notice that one is particularly crowded, please move to another and then come back. So we will reconvene here in the main room at 5 to 10 minutes to the hour. Thanks so much and see you soon. Great. So I think everybody's back in the main room. Thank you so much for joining today. A big thanks to all of our White and Case lawyers, Jessup alumni for joining as well. I really hope you all enjoyed getting to know a few of our lawyers. I know that we really had a great time speaking and getting to know all of you. For just a few bits of information on working at White and Case, I wanted to let you know about a few resources. Information on our career site for all regions can be found on our career page, and that's at www.whitecase.com/careers. To learn more about the firm and from our people, please go to inside.whitecase.com. And finally, in some parts of the world, we have what we call virtual learning programs. And this is a really good opportunity to discover what life is like as a White and Case associate by working on different fast-paced innovative projects. So these programs are free and a great way to expand your skills and knowledge and experience. And you can find these opportunities on our US and UK career sites. So to close, I really hope all of you make the most of your Jessup experience. I think the main theme you heard throughout all of the breakout rooms and from our speakers is that it's really important to stay involved. The Jessup is really not just a competition, it is a community, and it's really made stronger by your participation. So stay in touch with your teammates and everyone you've met through the competition. Thank you so much for joining today, and I wish you all the best.